All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Conscious Living Toolbox. Hello, Reina. So nice to have you here as well.
Hello, Ron, and hello, everybody. Of course, on a weekly basis, so lovely to see you and to tap into this energy.
Amazing. So, yeah, we kind of like juggled today. What are we going to talk about? And what came through for us to come and explore a bit is collective clearing, right? Because we all got this, for those watching who are not familiar with the collective energies, right? So we as a human species, we are conscious beings, and all of us have a unique individual consciousness, but then all of us are connected, right? And that interconnectedness creates one super consciousness, which is the collective consciousness. And what happens most of the time is that there are all these emotions going around. And if the mass majority of humans feel a certain emotion, it becomes a default emotion for most people, right? It's easy to fall into that emotion, right? So if you do not consciously choose which emotion to choose and you just say default, that it'll go to the collective consciousness and say, okay, this is what the majority is feeling, this is what you're going to feel, right? So, Reina, what um, emotion have you felt lately if you had to tap into default mode?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a nice question. The emotion that comes through in the last few days, and I think I did mention it to you earlier in my dream state as well, just after I have awoken, it's agitation and probably frustration, a little bit of frustration and a little bit of maybe anger, probably anger. So I wake up very unsettled and I can feel those energies trying to interfere in my day. Of course, as a self-aware person, I try to catch myself and I try to bring myself back into balance and to, use positive affirmations, use the power of my mind and my emotional state of being back into the balance that all is well. The collective energy can be very what is the word, like a Mexican wave.
Yeah.
If you kind of allow it to come over you, it could as well drain you, and you can get drawn into it. So it is, good to just have a little check-in with yourself to see where you're finding yourself, whether this is something that you experience by asking yourself the question, is this my emotion? Or is this something coming from external source? What about you, Ron? What kind of things are coming for you? What kind of emotions?
Yeah. Well, firstly, frustration is a huge one. I can also relate. The past couple of days, I catch myself quite often just like feeling that building up frustration, and not just with like other people, but also with yourself. And it's like, okay, why aren't you where you want to be, right? Why aren't you there yet? And one thing that came through last night in our open mic mastermind is patience, right?
Mm,
It's like conscious living and being the divine being that we are, that energy has its own schedule. It's not our schedule, right? Because we are on a planet trying to work with universal energies, right? And we expect it to happen like this now.
yeah,
And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it doesn't happen at all for a couple of years, but that's okay. And being okay with it is mastery at its best. And that's part of conscious living, is being okay with whatever comes to the surface or what doesn't come to the surface, and just deal with what does come up and choose, is this something that you want to experience or not?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
default emotion that I feel if we had to tap into that currently, if we're not choosing to like be present here and now, and it's like, okay, what energy is going to be there? And yeah, well, you spot on. The first word that's popping in is frustration. So yeah, that's interesting. So a lot of people, especially when you're traveling to work, people that's in traffic, you know how easy somebody can just get triggered, and frustration is there. And in South Africa, we got a power crisis. And imagine being in a major city and there's no power, the traffic lights doesn't work, everybody wants to get home or get to work. You can just imagine the frustration that builds up, right? And that adds to the collective energy.
Of course.
So, Reina, when it comes to clearing the collective energies that we are feeling as individuals, what would you say is the fundamental steps to take?
I think the first thing that really comes to my mind, and just before I tap into this, you mentioned 2 points there. That one is the patience, which is a really integral part of being patient with our journey as a human being. As everything in nature takes time, and that is directly related to patience. People work on projects that they might never finish, even when they leave this world. But even though, because it gives them satisfaction, they carry on working on those projects. So patience is a big part. Second thing that you mentioned there was the added frustration from situations like this, which is absolutely unnecessary. You will get home. Time is irrelevant. Of course, if you are not conscious about it and you are all the time in a rush, because we are living still in society where everybody's rushing for somewhere to do and just not sit down and be, which is gonna take off the unnecessary frustration. I'm guilty of this sometimes as well, so there's no judgment if you are finding yourself in this way of living. So your question was how, when it comes to the collective clearing, what are the steps? Is that what you asked me? Sorry.
Yeah, what are steps to start clearing?
Yeah, okay. Cool. So the first thing that came to my mind was something that Peter Sage says. He says, you cannot overcome the opinion of oneself. So basically, whatever kind of opinion you have for yourself, you need to basically have a higher vision so you can overcome that lower aspect. So if you imagine yourself, if you visualize yourself, if you visualize the humanity, if you come from that perspective of that everybody is happy, they are fulfilled, all is well, and you just keep yourself and everybody else around you that and the whole earth for that matter in that highest light of being, this is something that is going to give you hope. It's something that is going to give you a positive feeling, which is really going to support you in your day. It doesn't matter that you don't see it yet. It's not that you are faking it. It's that you are bringing the positivity, the light to the darkness that we experience currently as a humanity. As you see that current systems are disintegrating in many, many levels that we see and we don't see equally. Economics, world crisis with relation to nature, schooling systems. So it is important that we have that highest vision. And I've heard a podcast yesterday by Diana Cooper, and I started listening to her book, The Golden Age, The Golden New Age. Amazing read. I would definitely recommend it. We'll put a link in comments below after we finish with this live. But yeah, definitely have that visualization and have this hope and this light highest light, that you keep yourself, your family, your closed ones, and then even the whole earth as it's a living being, in that, hope and positivity and love, unconditional love for all. Remember, it's the love and joy and enlightenment is like one of the highest levels of consciousness. So choose where to live emotionally, even if you find yourself that it's hard to sustain it on a consistent basis all the time. Whenever you catch yourself and like check in with yourself, it just takes a few seconds to see where you're finding it and choose the higher vibrational feeling. Choose that. That does not mean that you suppress your current way of being. It does not mean that you shuffle down emotion of frustration and anger, and you suppress it, but it means that you take it out, you put it on the table, you sit with it, you are okay with it. There is no shame, there is no judgment, there is no criticism about the way you're feeling, and be okay with that. But then say, okay, I no longer need you. I no longer need you. And I now transmute you as a living being, even treat it as a living entity. And I now transmute you into a higher light, and then bring that visualization over. So I guess I brought the process a little bit back engineer the process for you. But I think this is one very powerful practice that every single one of us can make, so we can be okay, accept it, and then allow it to come to the surface, sit with it, be okay with it, and then transmute it. And I think in one of our lives a few weeks back, we had a procedure where we let go, and I think this is on our Pinterest as well as a infographic. Again, we can put a link on that below so you guys can check this process as well. What about you, Ruan?
Yeah, well, just to recap what came through as you wrote, just 4 basic steps is the first one is have a higher vision about, so if you feel the sort of collective energy and you want to like clear it, is have a higher vision that there is a collective consciousness. Firstly, being aware of it. Because if you know that there's collective consciousness, you realize that most of the thoughts that you're thinking isn't yours to begin with, right? It's having that higher vision as well. Then hold unconditional love for everybody and that's going through it, right? And have compassion. And then 3, as you mentioned, is choose where you want to live emotionally, and that is the conscious living part of it. And then 4, transmute whatever you're feeling into your intention. So I think that is the basic 4 steps into moving and shifting the energies in that. So what I do want to mention, that as you spoke about, like also mentioning other people as well, there's one of the responsibilities that we have is cooperation, right? And that is with everybody around us, because we all we are one. The law of one states that you are me, I am you, and everything that is of a vibrational state is you, right? So it doesn't matter what it is, you are present everywhere in the universe, and we are not special. We are all together. Because we are all one. That's what makes us all special, right? So when it comes to because you tapped into like not being jealous of somebody else, or if they're making it in life and stuff like that. So if you have hopes and desires and dreams for your life, and you do not grant and celebrate other people's wins in their life, how do you expect you to have wins in your life as well? All right. So we so often, if we see that person is driving a nice car, it's like, wow, okay, they made it in life, but why can't I make it in life? So you're not granting that person like, wow, he actually deserves it because that's what he strived for and he achieved it. Right. So once you hold that space, you create a space to receive your wants and your desires because you appreciate you.
Yes.
So
this is
this
is extremely powerful what you are saying, and it's not to be taken with light heart. Yes.
Yeah. Is there something else that came through for you on that?
Comparison, as you were mentioning this as well, I think comparison is a huge one, and we know how hard it could be, you know, when if you haven't made it, to just go and compare yourself. But the point is that you have your unique light, your unique contribution to this world. And rather than comparing yourself to other people that you might get inspired from and you adore, you know, and you look up for, do not compare them, because the world doesn't need another copy of those people. You can get inspired, you can cheer them on, and this is absolutely amazing. This is, I think, exactly the attitude. It's like, grant them, as you said, that they deserve what they have achieved in their life, so you can open up space for you to receive as well, which is very important. But if you can concentrate on you, integrating the law of one, I am you and you are me, without any kind of comparison, just looking at your own unique journey and your own unique contribution, just drop that comparison. And it might take time and practice, and you might need to make it a habit, you know, the habit of not comparing yourself to others, which is so much soul liberating, not to go and compare yourself to others. Cheer for them, root for them, celebrate them. Do not compare yourself to them. It's very, very important. It could be very hard, but you got it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, just from another perspective as well, is not to look down on people, right? Because there are some people that isn't as developed as you are consciously. They're not, because you're only aware to the extent that you are aware of, right? The bigger your awareness is of the whole and your part in it, the more compassion you're going to have for those around you. But if you do not have those foundations and you only have your little world that you are focusing on, you can cause destruction where in stuff that you're not aware of. But those who are aware of can see, okay, but this person is destroying this. Why are they destroying it?
Yeah.
So then it's very easy to fall into like blaming and like judging, like, why are they doing this and stuff like that. They haven't gotten aware to the extent that you have become aware of. So once you become aware of that, and as you mentioned, it's a habit. It doesn't just simply, okay, you have this thought and then all of a sudden it's now hunky-dory, you'll never have to think of it or experience it again. No, you're going to be tested over and over again for you to integrate and embody it until those neurological pathways has been installed, and it just happens by habit, right?
Yeah.
And I had a thought that popped in earlier as you spoke, but yeah, it's just that when we move forward, oh, there we go. Thank you so much. So the collective consciousness can be seen as a highway, right? Where all the cars travel. Now, once you decide to live life consciously, you say, okay, am I going to turn left, or am I going to turn right, or am I going to carry on? Staying with the default emotion of the collective consciousness is a conscious choice as well, right? Everything is conscious.
Yes.
So if you choose, okay, I want to go there and I need to turn left in order to get there, then make that left. Make that conscious decision to turn left. Now, we are in a new energy, and most of the collective energy is based on an old highway, which is so full of traffic because the energy for that collective consciousness is not there anymore, right? The old is gone. 2012 cut off. We got a new energy where we are in, right? We've never been here before. There's no book that tells us what to do in these energies, right? Not even the ascended masters from back then knew the potentials of what is possible now. We are living it, right? That's what makes us so, I'm gonna say, I want to use the word relevant, but we are here to experience this shift, right? Moving from an old energy to a new energy. And moving to a new energy means that there needs to be new roads carved and paved, and that needs to be made, right? And if, for those of you who know, making a new road is not an easy process. First, you have to walk through a lush bush and put little markers. Okay, this is where we want the road to go, and then you need to start clearing the road, and then you start with a simple ground road, and then it starts to expand, the more people go over it. But the first initial period of time, you're going to be the only one traveling that road and creating that road in the first place. So if you're feeling stuck and like frustrated in a way that like, okay, nobody's showing up, maybe you're still busy creating the road in the first place instead of going on the highway that we are all used to. Like, there's no judgment. We are all used to traveling on that highway because since we were born, we were on that highway. So yeah.
And I think this goes back to patience as well, as you were saying. If you are the only person building this road, you will know this deep down within you. You will know that you are here for something new. And yes, we are super privileged to be experiencing these energies, you know. It's absolutely incredible and amazing, and such a privilege to be alive in this and to be tapped into this consciousness. So again, give yourself so much self-love and so much grace, and look after yourself. Look after yourself in a way where nobody else can look after you, through your nutrition, through your exercise, through your mental state, nurturing thoughts, nurturing emotions. Why choose to stay in struggle? Why do you choose to stay in struggle when you have the choice to tap out of it, to unplug yourself from that struggle, and have absolute faith and trust that whatever happens is happening for your highest good, focusing on building those blocks one thing at a time, you know, literally the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, instead of, you know, getting frustrated. You are only getting frustrated because of having that bigger picture of how you want it to be, coming back from a sense of ego. I want it this way, you know, and then it might not be needed in the way that you want it. So this is different than vision. It's different when your ego kind of interferes within it and it wants it in a certain way. But if you are consistent in taking action, in building that road, as you said, in laying that foundations, and you're just going to be fulfilled in the process, that today has been a good day. Today is a good day. Today is a new day. And building your habits to be consistent. And then you drop your comparison, then you drop your judgment, your criticism for self, for others, and you are there living a conscious life, living an authentic life in a way that it's fulfilling for you. It's not driven from any kind of external material stuff. It's driven from your heart, from your soul purpose, from your soul mission. What else would you want, you know, when you come from that pure selflessness and from that space of service? It's just such a grace.
Yeah, definitely. And also one thing, just to touch upon vision as well. I have a very soft spot for having a vision in life and where we're going. And the biggest mistake that most people make when creating a vision is thinking that it's set in stone, right? It's completely the opposite. Your vision is supposed to be dynamic. So if you think about it, if you climb a mountain, right, you envision how the view is going to be on top of this mountain, right? And the more you climb up this mountain, and you stop and you observe, the view changes, right? So your vision should upgrade and shift because you already know, okay, you've experienced this, so you need to incorporate that into your overall vision. So that by the time you reach the top, you have a more laser focused vision than if you just thought, okay, this is how it might look when I get on top, if you just keep it set in stone. So yeah.
I really love your metaphor with a mountain, because it depends on what time of the day you're gonna reach the top. So your vision will be divinely guided to exactly what it has to be for the time that you arrive there.
Yes.
So your vision, as you said, dynamic vision, that it's going to change, and it might change every time that you visualize, depending on the actions that you take. And it's not a set thing. Yes, people do use like visualization and vision boards and all that stuff, which is great tools. But of course, with the power of your imagination, upgrade that vision, based on what action you have been taken, based on the shift in consciousness that you have, based in the highest timeline, that every time when you sit down and do this visualization, and it doesn't have to be a deep meditation that you go into. You can even go for a walk in nature, and as you walk in nature, just let your imagination drive you, guide you, and just imagine yourself in that highest timeline where you are the most abundant, the happiest, with them. I'm losing my words.
What's coming through is allow that vision to arrive. Let it show up, because it's already there. So yeah, it's just on that topic as well. It's like, if you've seen the same vision over and over and over again, that is an indication that you are stuck in life, right? Because you haven't moved from where you were. You're still standing at that camping spot in seeing the same spot. You haven't moved to the next milestone, right? So yeah.
Great. Yes, thank you. Amazing.
So when also, let's quickly come back to the collective clearing, right? There's a notion of a lot of people say, okay, no, it's very selfish to, like, in the old energy, especially with all the generations, they say, okay, no, it's about us in this little group, and if you're going to venture out away from this group, it's very selfish to do so. But sometimes you need to venture out to learn new skills and new stuff, and fill your cup first, so that when you come back to your community, you are able to serve them in a much higher capacity than you would have if you had to just stay there. I don't know if that makes sense right now.
It does. And actually, two things are coming through. One was a conversation that I had with my husband the other day about this, what you said, if you need to move out, and then how do you take those decisions? If you physically need to go somewhere else, is it selfish for you? Is it selfish for your children? And it comes back to the dynamics and the energetics behind. If you come from an intention that you do it for your highest good, because I am you and you are me, for me to do it for my highest good, it means that I'm doing it for the highest good of all. Okay, so this is linked straight to the law of one. So whatever the guidance is that comes through, that it's not again linked to material stuff, it's not linked to your finances and say like, this is not the main drive, but if it comes to your heart and you're like, I need to be there, and you need to move physically somewhere, it means that there is a purpose behind. It's the same thing when you're somewhere, and I have been in this position where I'm somewhere that I don't want to be in a physical location, and I'm saying, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. But even though my attempts have shown me that I still need to be here, it came to the point where after years and years of self-judgment of, being somewhere that I don't like, I say, okay, my light is needed here for this moment of time. Otherwise, I was not going to be here. It was going to be easy to move, to close that circle, to move away and to be somewhere else. But apparently and obviously, even though I have done all these attempts, I am needed here. So what else? So it's like, ask yourself those questions where they're constructive questions of, what's my purpose here? How else can I serve for my highest, for the highest good of all? And then, because there is energetics on a universal level, the universe, when you stand up for yourself in such way and you own it, and you are responsible for it, you are responsible for everything that has happened for you in this life, then you will have a better picture and understanding and situations that will arise that will bring you answers. And based on your answers, and then you coming from that perspective of a higher consciousness, you will be able then to serve better, you'll be able to take better decisions. And I think everything is divinely timed, I'm strong believer that everything is divinely timed. It doesn't mean that you have to sit around and wait for it, because you need to initiate it, right? It's different. You need to initiate it, but always with a set your intention for the highest good of all.
Yeah,
I don't know
definitely.
whether did this kind of answer your
Yeah, well, it had to come through. So yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely divinely guided. So also on the topic of like the law of one, right? And if the universe is also part of us, right? And we are part of the universe, and the same components which the majority of our body is made of is the majority of components the universe is made of, right? So for us to experience, as you mentioned, like you in this space, you try to move, but then you find yourself still months after you're still at the same place, all right? And all your efforts to move has like, it's like you're running, but you connected with an elastic band and it just like pulls you back the whole time, right? You're coming back to the point. So one, you are, as you mentioned, you are where you need to be for reasons you haven't discovered yet, right? So secondly is also, as you mentioned, is you mustn't not do anything while you're in that space, because while you are there, what are your dreams? What is your goals? What are you what's your legacy that you're creating, right? Don't wait till you're at some other stage before you create or work on your legacy, right? What is it that you're going to leave behind? How are you going to leave it behind? Get all those things in place so that when you are able to move and you are moving, that you'll be able to thrive wherever you're going, and not run back to where you once were because it was comfortable there, right? That's also one thing, the comfortability stage of it. Also be willing to embrace the unknown, because that's also conscious living. It's embracing any experience, whether known or unknown, and let that be okay. So any emotion that comes through, and especially when you're in the unknown, that is when you are most susceptible to the collective energies as well, right? Because in your comfort zone, that is, you are the king or queen of that space, right? So okay, this is how you normally feel, but why am I feeling this? Nothing has triggered you to feel this way, but you're feeling this way. That is a collective energy, right? That you can then clear. But if you're in an unknown territory, you are bombarded from 365 degrees all around you with like collective ideas, brainwaves, and energies. And if you do not master yourself and your mind and have those habits installed, right, before you even made the move, you are going to be in trouble and be so easy deceived by the world and absorb energy and think it's your own when it's not.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So it is important to clear through. And there are some practices that you can literally in the moment, clear through. You can use any like kind of purification sprays. You can use incense to burn in your home, in your living space, in your area, but you can also use the power of the white light and the visualization that you are protected all around you. Just white light everything or all around you from the core of the earth all the way to the heavens and all the way back, just brilliant white light. So it's like purified space and your way of being. I'm sure, Ron, you have some, quick energy techniques that you can suggest as well here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I love working with the violet flame, and even with like you can do it with pets, you can do it with your loved ones, with an area. Doesn't matter where you are, you can use it, right? So and even if you want to use like even higher dimensional energies, you can even use the bright white is the 12th energy point, the 12th dimensional light, and then the 11th dimension is like a dark silver. So if you mix the two, it makes like aluminium, like a platinum, like a dull aluminium colors. Like, so you can use that as well, that energy, which is super potent because anything of a lower vibrational state has to be transmuted because it's like the highest form of energy that we can tap into, right? As our highest potential in a physical body, right? So, but for those, if you don't want to use those, the violet flame, the violet energy, you can just invoke it from, you can just visualize the violet flame. You can invoke it, say, I now invoke the violet flame from its primary source, and then take a deep breath in and see it within starting to come up. And then as you exhale, see it projected out into your field around you. Firstly, create a bubble around you, and then whatever situation you are feeling, project it towards that. If there is a argument with two people and you're not involved, cover both those people in the violet light, and that the law of one and those guys sort it out in a way that is peaceful and beneficial for all involved, right? And personally, I've seen with energetic healing as well for animals, it is so powerful as well. And it's interesting to see because animals are more receptive to energies than, or like they respond more visually than what humans do, because humans still got their like pride, still there's like, I don't feel anything, but meanwhile inside are like, what's this bubbling happening within me, right?
Yes, definitely.
But animals, is you can see it, and they instantly react once you invoke the violet flame, and it is so amazing to see the benefits from that. So that is just one and two quick things that you can do. And practice and do it, because the more you do it, the more it will become a habit to you once you are in that state. And it's so important to be fearless as well, right? So also train yourself to be fearless, right? So what are things that you're afraid of doing? Then go out and consciously do it, because once you do that, you program and you show the universe that you're not afraid to face what you are afraid of facing. And in the beginning, it's terrifying, but the more you do it, the more you want to do it, and it becomes fun and it becomes a challenge. And if you're in that state of like facing your fears and you react the way that that fear comes up, right, or something comes that you don't want to happen but is happening, there's your moment to practice your energy and your power and your divine right, birthright to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, amazing. Any last words from your end, Reina?
So feel into the feeling that you're experiencing, sense whether that's yours or it's not yours. And if it's not yours, just lovingly transmute it into the energy. If it is yours and it is of a lower vibration, again, lovingly transmute it to the light with your pure intention. Practice any energy techniques that you're drawn to, the violet flame, brilliant white light, the 12-dimensional light, as Ron said, or anything that it's helping you, that it's supporting you to do that, any kind of physical incense or purification for yourself, your home, prayer, whatever it's that helps you and you resonate with, just practice that. And ask the divine for strength, ask for courage, ask for purification, ask for the healing to heal those lower vibrational emotions and to shift you into the higher ones where you're going to be fulfilled, satisfied, experiencing unconditional love, joy, and enlightenment.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Reina. Thank you for everybody that's watching. It is always a pleasure to come in and share the energies with you guys. And what needs to come through is what had to come through for the benefit of all. So thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week. And if you would like to be part of our newsletter, we send out one newsletter a week, also giving the times when we are going live for the Conscious Living Toolbox, and also some other places where you can watch us live. And also you'll receive our weekly transformational pamphlet as well. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time.
Thank you so much. And if you want more of this, we go live daily in the week on Instagram, just for some short lives with some energy updates and any kind of messages that need to go through. That's no longer than 5 minutes, a really quick one to give you a boost for the day. Join us there, Inner Vision Transformation. We're going to put a link below. And if you have resonated with this and if this has helped you, please let us know in the comments and share this with anybody who is going to benefit from this. So we sustain this high vibrational space for everyone who are drawn to us. Until next time, live long
and prosper.